let's kick off another episode of Tech on Ice. This is an exciting episode because it's the first episode where the ambient temperature outside is actually colder than the cold plunge. I think it's like 48 degrees or 45 degrees, something like that outside right now. The video really bothered me because I think one of the things that we have to consistently remind people in the industry, right? Like, DevOps is not about the tools. Like, you know, I don't know Donovan's quote off the top of my head. I probably should, but like, you know, DevOps is not a exercise in technology. It's an exercise in organizational structure and people to ship software faster, right? I'm not going to get into like the credo of agile shipping of software or DevOps principles. I'm just going to talk a little bit about as to why we keep having this issue over and over again, in my opinion. Firstly, I think developers are hammers, and every problem that exists are nails, and we're looking constantly for opportunity to smash nails as hard as possible. And usually how we do that is we're people who like technology and love technology. We tend to drift towards using tools or wanting to solve problems with technology when they probably don't need to be solved with technology. I see this a lot, right? It's like, oh, like maybe we'll just add some tech to this process and then we don't have this manual step, or we don't have this. And sometimes it's great, automation is great, but sometimes technology like is just overcomplicates the situation. Like specifically like certain areas where you know, just thinking about what actually needs to happen to an organizational structure. Like, and here's why I think DevOps is like rot for this constantly. Because software vendors have basically equivalently connected continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous deployment with DevOps, right? I don't think those two things are as related as a lot of us think they are, right? Like, at the end of the day, like you can instill or install DevOps or DevOps practices in your organization and not use like a sexy CI/CD tool. Like, sure, you have some automation, but like you don't need to be using tool of choice. So I'm not going to name them, right? I think we all know most of the big ones. It's all about like how your teams operate when the pressure comes to ship software. And I think it's really, really important as we continually run into this situation. Like, I've never seen a company be successful in saying, oh, we're going to go to a DevOps methodology, and then they just install Jenkins or Azure DevOps or GitHub Actions or whatever, right? Like, that usually what that just means is that they take their existing approach and they just put a tool at the end of it. Which I mean is great because you're introducing tools that can help you automate, but are you really being like, are you following DevOps principles? Or are you being a more agile company if you're just adding a tool and saying, you know, we're good? You know, the term that we used to joke about all the time is like agile waterfall, right? For folks who haven't been in tech for a while, like waterfall is like the more traditional way that you ship software, right? Where you have a project manager and their responsibility is to track burn down, and then they, you know, you ship software at a specific cadence. You know, oh, we ship software once a quarter or once every year or whatever it is, right? And DevOps obviously goes down this path of more agile, where it's like we ship the code when it's ready. Like, sure, there's some timelines and stuff that we want to hit, but we want to ship the code when it's ready. We want to wait. So I just think it's funny that even though we've played this game time and time again, we continually keep on playing okay, let's just put a tool in the situation, in the process, and make our lives a bit better, when honestly, like, tools just make things more complicated. I have another rant that I'm kind of in the process of thinking through about, like, why do we have so many tools? And we'll talk about that in the future. But that was my little mini rant or thoughts on, you know, DevOps and how we basically connect tooling and DevOps when really there's not a piece there. So hopefully you like this one. Be sure to like and comment down below if you do. Share with friends that you might say, hey, do you agree with this? Because I want to have a discussion if people want to have it about this sort of thing, because I do think it's interesting. That's in it for me today. I hope you enjoy Tech on Ice, and take care.